Hey friends, and welcome back to this week's Self-Love Masterclass. For those of you that are new here, my name is Renee Love. I am the CEO and founder of Modern Day Wise Woman, which is an online self-love school and coaching practice. And here we talk about all things self-love and energy medicine. If you are new here, one of the things you may want to explore is the Self-Love Masterclass playlist. That playlist has all of our classes from the beginning of the series up until now, and people tell me they love to binge watch them, so feel free to do that if you would like. Today I want to talk a little bit about self-love. I want to talk about some of the common misconceptions that people have about self-love, and I want to talk about why self-love is so important. First and foremost, I think many years ago, people heard the word self-love and they really didn't know what it meant. And so for a long time, self-love was collapsed with this notion of like narcissism or being selfish. And the thing that I think a lot of people miss, and this is what I want to really hit home in this part of the class, is that you cannot be self-loving and also be narcissistic. Just like you cannot be fully empathetic and also be narcissistic at the exact same time. Why is this? Well, if you look at what narcissism is all about, narcissism is actually someone that is so disconnected from themselves and insecure that they are not self-aware, again, not self-aware, and they really have a difficult time even being able to connect with or understand the feelings and the emotions of others. When you actually are practicing self-love, when you love yourself, it means that you have a greater sense of self-awareness, which then in turns to you being someone that is far more introspective and far more empathetic and in tune with your own feelings and how you affect the people around you. I would even add that even when you're not around other people, you are just in tune with what the human experience is all about and where people are really struggling. There are a lot of people that are practicing self-love and are on self-love journeys, and they're so confused about what self-love is and what self-love looks like. And at the end of the day, if I be really honest with you, there is no one singular definition that fits every single person that is on a self-love journey. I will be super honest with you. Sometimes I'm online and I will search the hashtag self-love and I will see what pops up. And I will see someone doing and talking about something that in my personal and professional opinion literally is the opposite of self-love, has nothing to do with self-love. It looks more selfish, it looks more narcissistic, and in fact, the person looks incredibly out of touch with reality and extremely insecure. In other words, what's going on is a lot of ego, a lot of show, a lot of bravado, and not very much going on the inside. And that's kind of what we're seeing a lot when we talk about social media and influencers. Not all influencers, so don't come for me if you're an influencer, but that's part of what we've been seeing over the last couple of years and why sometimes being online is so difficult for so many people. Because it is less about people loving themselves and more about people pretending to love themselves and instead being narcissistic, and then people comparing themselves, and it's just a whole disaster, okay? None of that is self-love. Self-love is really about being yourself and being authentic and coming to a place where you can love yourself unconditionally. You can accept your past, even if there are difficult things or things that you wish that you could change or parts that you're not so proud of. It means that you can be here in the present moment and understand that you are worthy of love no matter what. Literally, no matter what. The self-love that I teach, what we practice, and what my clients learn, and what all of you are learning here, is a divine practice. It is to have the level of love and respect for ourselves, that source, consciousness, God, the universe, whatever you want to call that energy or that presence, that presence has for us. Us being able to mirror that for ourselves in our own lives. So much of the reason why many of us struggle is because we don't have that unconditional love for ourselves. We feel ashamed, or we feel guilty, or we're deeply disconnected from parts of ourselves. We have all different kinds of things that we've suppressed, that we've buried. We're just not really fully yet able to be with the wholeness of who we are and feel comfortable in being that person out in the world, and even at times with some of the closest people to us in our lives. I want you to understand that self-love isn't this thing that you are trying to acquire outside of yourself or get from other people. It is a connection that you have with yourself. It is sacred. It is divine. And when you love yourself, like when you really have honor for yourself and who you are, that permeates your singular self. That's when you experience the oneness. That's when you experience connection. That's when you move to a higher state of consciousness and you begin to be more empathetic, more compassionate, more in relationship to other people and what is happening for them, but not in a way that is self-destructive or harmful for you. You are better able to have that balance. So I want you to take a moment now to pause the video. And if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook or on LinkedIn, wherever you are watching this, okay, leave me some comments below and tell me what your definition of self-love is and how you feel so far about what I've been talking about and teaching in this class. In the second part of the class, what I want us to focus on is why self-love is so important. Now, you may have sort of gathered what I'm about to speak about based on some of the things that I touched on in the first part of this class. But trust me, we're gonna go so much deeper. Big thing is this: when we don't love ourselves, it changes the way we see everything. It changes the way we feel about everything, and it completely taints and changes the way we interpret all different kinds of experiences that we have in life. For example, people who do not love themselves or are struggling to find self-acceptance often see other people as being better than them or up here. It means that a lot of the times they second guess themselves, they question themselves, and they don't just do this at home when they're by themselves all alone. They are doing this constantly when they are out in the world, when they are in the workplace, when they're dating someone. How we feel about ourselves literally affects every single thing that we do. So when we're talking about narcissists and why self-love is so different, you know, the narcissist has a disconnect when it comes to self-love. They don't really feel good about themselves. In fact, they feel so poorly about themselves that they need this constant validation. And if you think that they actually are full of themselves and arrogant, understand that that's the bravado on the outside. What's really going on the inside is total lack of self-love. Now, when we love ourselves, it means that we have an understanding that we're human. We feel less like we need to be perfect, or we need to have it all together, or we need to meet other people's expectations and standards all the time. We are less likely to feel like our life is about pleasing other people. And so we're less likely to be fake and to pretend and to do all this stuff that people do in hopes of being accepted and loved. It means that we're more likely to attract people into our lives that actually know who we really are. And guess what? Actually love us for who we really are, not who they think we are, who we pretended to be, or who they want us to be. When we love ourselves completely and wholly, it means that if you're being a little weird, or you're going through some stuff, or you don't have it all together, because I understand what that feels like and I have compassion for me, I can offer you that same level of compassion. Trust me, friends, when you are around someone that truly loves themselves, or at the very least is on a true divine self-love journey to loving themselves, you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference in the interactions, in how much safer you feel, how little you feel judged, and how warm that individual is. It doesn't always mean that they're like that all the time, but it is a huge foundational part of your relationship because it is a huge foundational part of who they are. So self-love is really important. I have said it before. The relationship that we have with ourselves affects every single thing else in our lives. Is that a word? Every single thing else affects every other thing in our lives. And when you do self-love practice, when you really live this as a daily lifestyle, when you practice and embody the principles, it truly is a spiritual experience. It changes your life. It changes all of the people that you have in your life. And it gives you so much freedom as a human being and as an eternal soul. I could talk so much more about self-love. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now? Something like that. And I know that it is my life's work. In fact, one day I'll share with you something that I wrote when I was in high school. Even back in high school, before I knew I don't even know where I got this word self-love, but I can tell you for sure that it was the universe working in me. I hope that you've really enjoyed this class. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It helps me to know what classes you really appreciate, what topics you want more of. Also, if you're not already following me on Instagram, definitely come over and follow me there. You know, they do some weird stuff sometimes with algorithms, but turn on post notifications or check regularly. There's always new free self-love coaching that I am doing there. And the last exciting piece of news that I want to share with you is that I am working on completing the final pieces of the membership program. So I hope to be rolling that out in a couple of months. And that's going to be a great way for me to continue to do self-love training for those of you that would love to do work as individuals, as a group as well. And it's also something that is a little bit more affordable for those of you that are not able to do one-to-one coaching right now, and also a great add-on for those of you that are already doing one-to-one coaching. I plan to share all different kinds of things there that honestly I just won't share openly with everyone in the public. It's just things that need to be done in our private club and our private space. So look out for that, more to come on that. And without further ado, thank you so much for your time and your attention. I hope you enjoyed this class. Share it. And until we see each other next time, don't you forget that we truly are in this together.